the Vice Chancellors and Acting VC of the universities, Executive Director of the Fiji Higher Education Commission, representatives of the industry and private sector, higher education institutions, members of civil society organizations, licensing bodies, professional bodies, students and donors. Gentlemen, I'm pleased to be here today to open this collaborative meeting between industry and academia. I'm glad that you are concentrating discussions in this meeting to programs from levels 1 to 6 on the qualifications framework. So I will also raise issues with regard to other levels as well. Gentlemen, we are all gathered here to address two key issues confronting us all. To reduce mismatch between the training provided and the skills required by the industry, which will lead to greater development in our country and region. And B, secondly, that these graduates are of the highest quality. Ladies and gentlemen, our quest for growth and development of the economy depends on how the industry and the private sector expands in the process, thus creating jobs and surplus for reinvestment and expansion of the economy. In this process, the ability of the training providers, the higher education sector is critical. They need to understand the dynamics of at least the local labor market, the trends in investment and industry development, its labor requirement, and thus position itself to meet those requirements. It is not numbers game only, but quality of those numbers. Hence, as we see competition amongst ourselves by the training providers, this competition, instead of raising the quality of the product, and has resulted in a slow and significant decline in product quality. Hence, we are confronted with issues of both numbers as well as gap in product quality. Specifically, this issue includes 1, inadequate numbers of graduates in certain areas, 2, inadequate level of knowledge and skills in relevant area of qualification, 3, very poor soft skills acquisition. In fact, glaring absence of soft skills that is frustrating clients and employers. 4, inadequate knowledge of latest technological developments in the subject areas. And 5, lack of broader knowledge of the country and the global context, and in particular the subject area as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you all to move beyond the past as we build our new Fiji. I implore you all to go the extra mile to move out of your comfort zones and negotiate together how you can work together to get the right mix and the positive results we need. You need to share certain base level resources, agree to offer programs whose numbers will be low, cost of delivery will be high, and market share will also be low in terms of employability. This is where national interest will become paramount. The industry needs to take responsibility for succinctly articulating the competencies required for each vocation and each job category. If this is done well, then higher education providers will clearly know the bar above which all their graduates need to be. Government will provide through financial input by rationalizing operating grants, special grants, loans and scholarships, allocations to eligible higher education institutions. Government will reduce double dipping into government funds. We are steadfast in ensuring that our two universities, the National University and the regional universities, well funded to address these needs. At the same time, we think private providers who assist us to meet these national needs, they too will have access to TELS and TOPPERS funding should the students choose to get admitted with them, given that they see the product which will meet their interest. I trust donors in private sector will complement government's efforts. At this juncture, and acknowledge support given to Fiji via numerous ways. Let me mention a few of these ways, though not by name of country. Scholarship attainable in these countries outside of Fiji, to technical and financial support to our higher education institutions and to the Fiji Higher Education Commission, funding of visits to higher education institutions in other countries by Fijians for capacity building. Ladies and gentlemen, our quest to develop a knowledge-based society is not in isolation. These sentiments has also been seen in its place in global declarations. And it would be remiss of me if I did not mention two important international declarations and two local documents which must have a bearing on your communique out of this meeting. Firstly, the international ones, the International Incheon Declaration Education 2030, towards inclusive and equitable quality education, lifelong learning for all, which sets out a new vision for education for the next 15 years. Sustainable Development Goal 4 promotes ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promotes lifelong learning opportunities for Fiji for all. In the new vision for education, the following keywords appear: access, inclusion, equity, gender equality, quality education, and improving learning outcomes, lifelong learning opportunities for all in all settings at all levels of education. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bainimarama government has shown its commitment to education and has stated in the declaration, our focus of this meeting is a call as echoed in the Incheon Declaration for the coordinated partnership at all levels and across sectors and to uphold the right to participation of all stakeholders. Another important part of the Incheon Declaration is the generation of sound evidence for policy formulation and the management of education systems, as well as to ensure accountability. The Fiji Higher Education Commission has stated that it receives good support from most players in all sections of the higher education sector. I invite all stakeholders to put your full effort and full support behind the Fiji Higher Education Commission as it tries to ensure that this sector produces the required manpower for Fiji's step of development. They need your support and constant inputs. The second international declaration was made at the Asia Pacific Conference on Education and Training, Making Skills Development Work for the Future, which was held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on 3rd to 5th August 2015. The Kuala Lumpur Declaration, which focuses on the importance of TVET education, the same as the emphasis of this meeting, which looks at this level 1 to 6 of the Fiji higher education system. On this, our national university, a dual-mode university, has taken the lead to ensure that technical education is delivered at the highest quality level. Our government has also established the campuses of technical colleges throughout Fiji to ensure we offer technical education at levels 1 to 2 to meet industry requirements. Ladies and gentlemen, this vision of the government to ensure that we provide quality providers with respect to technical education is also emulated throughout the world. In fact, it has become a major discussion globally. India has adopted this pathway to skilling India so that they can support the massive number of people who are going outside India to work by giving them the basic skills so that from day go they start earning good income, and also they become a finished product when they enter the labor market. Ladies and gentlemen, our education strategy, which prominently feature in our Fiji National Development Strategy 2016 to 2020, is currently under formulation. I wish to thank those of you who contributed to this process and state that a major theme that kept appearing in the consultations was that of the rural development. I suggest you start thinking of how you will support the implementation of the plan once it comes into being. Ladies and gentlemen, while we are gathered here today, I also want to remind you about the serious flaws in the quality of higher education graduates that is produced by higher education institutions. They are fraught with lack of soft skills, lack of competences in English proficiencies, unwilling to think outside the box, and poor research capacity. They also tend to think that there is a labor market waiting for them to get absorbed without thinking about how they can be job providers or have that entrepreneurial mind. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to undertake a major rethinking of the approach that we have adopted to provide higher education training in terms of ensuring that those coming out of our higher education institutions all to think about establishing their own business. Until such time we do that, we will be really shortchanging government's effort to promote, expand the economy by having or attracting more entrepreneurs in the market. This last week, I asked the senior officer to provide my office an investigative report on 3 students of a primary school who committed suicide. I had to provide a report to the Prime Minister. The report was so poorly done, fraught with English grammar and comprehensive and sentence structure mistakes, demonstrates poor research skills. We are worried for how long we are to carry these kinds of graduates in our system. This person did a primary teacher training certificate, has a Bachelor of Education, has postgraduate diploma in education, and a master's degree in education, and has been in the system for 20 years. Can't write a decent report have no idea about how to undertake a basic, simple investigative research. There are hundreds of them in our school system and ministry holding master's degree. We are bleeding because university academia are failing to provide us with finished products, asking them not to be defensive but quickly relook at the higher education program before it gets too late. What I'm challenging you participants is status quo is not an option. Get out of your comfort zones, place yourself in the position of employers, and ask yourself, are you happy with the products? Today we will discuss programs globally. I urge both parties to listen carefully, work together for the greater good. Let's not race to the bottom. Competition is good, but competition, unless it is checked and regulated, can also result in a race to the bottom, thus churning out products which does not meet the requirements of the industry, has serious flaws, and we end up doing injustice to those who have acquired this qualification. Ladies and gentlemen, with these few words, I'm honored to open this first collaborative meeting of academia and industry. I look forward to the deliberations. I do hope that this will be a beginning of a more detailed and Fiji-wide consultation between the academia, the industry training providers, and the private sector and industry. Thank you.